Welcome to the International IMPROVATE Business Conference, a platform for making long-lasting connections, allowing change makers in technology and decision makers in government to make progress through innovation. IMPROVATE is dedicated to finding solutions and sparking collaborations that improve the quality of life for people around the world. Today, the new world of agriculture. We zoom in on southeastern Europe to hear the challenges they're facing in the future of agriculture and how Israeli innovators can help make the changes they need happen. So who are we going to hear from? Well, here with us in the studio is IMPROVATE's founder and chair, Irina Nevzlin. Co-chairing this conference is former Bulgarian President Rosen Plevneliev. Joining us from Jerusalem, the UN Special Coordinator for the Middle East Peace Process, Nikolai Mladenov. Also taking part, ministers from Israel and southeastern Europe. Israeli Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Alon Shuster. Bulgarian Minister of Agriculture, Food and Forestry, Desislava Teneva, Executive Director of Bulgaria's State Fund Agriculture, Vasil Grudev, Bulgaria's Economy Minister, Romanian Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Adrian Oros, Theodoros Karoglu, Special Minister for Macedonia and Thrace, Tugomir Majda, Croatia's State Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, and Foteni Arampatsi, Greek Deputy Minister of Rural Development and Food. And right here in the studio, we'll also be joined by Greek Ambassador Panayotis Saris, head of the Economic Diplomacy Department of the Greek Embassy, Nicholas Christodoulidis, and Konstantinos Daskalopoulos, First Secretary for Economic and Commercial Affairs at the Greek Embassy, plus Dr. Yaroslav Shviet-Karpovich. He's the Scientific and Economic Counselor at the Polish Embassy in Tel Aviv. And of course, we'll be hearing from 7 of Israel's leading agri-tech companies: AgriGo, AgriGreen, GrowFit, Roots, Adama, AgroScout, and Groundwork BioAg, each one breaking down their solutions for a smart future in agriculture. And this is all very practical. So watching along with us, representatives of investment funds from around the world looking to invest in Israeli companies right now. Let's start off right here in the studio. Israel's Minister of Agriculture, Alon Shuster, it's great to have you with us. And Irina Nevzlin, of course, founder and chair of IMPROVATE. Irina is an entrepreneur who grew up and started her career in Moscow. She continued on to London and now resides in Israel. Her book is The Impact of Identity, The Power of Knowing Who You Are. And over the last decade, as chair of the board of directors of the Museum of the Jewish People, she led its $100 million transformation. It is now the biggest Jewish museum in the world, telling the story of unity and success. And of course, let's set the stage and start with you, Irina. Tell us a little bit about what you think IMPROVATE can do here, and especially in this time of global crisis.
Thank you very much. First, let me tell you that I'm so excited to be here. We have a lot of people from around the world. I've calculated 7 countries, and I wish we could be here physically because I think that's what human beings are craving. But we do, as you rightly said, we do solutions. So what we can do now is we can do it online. I will start by saying thank you to my partner, our CEO, Ranit Hossein-Hochman, because I can sit here all night long, all day long, but it wouldn't happen without her making it happen. And I will address briefly the 2 issues. We have a long program today, and I want to make sure that we don't spend too much time because everybody is busy in the crazy time like that. But I want to address 2 points, as you said. First, vision of IMPROVATE and why we've created what we created. And second, how can we be helpful in the times of crisis? Look, I think I'll share with you something personal, which is not normal usually to say. I think I'm looking at the world now and I'm very confused as to where it's going, right? I think a lot of people share this feeling as to we used to believe that we know something, and then for now we're in the station where it's a lot of unknown. And so when it's unknown, what you need is leadership, right? When you need a leadership, what can you expect possibly from leadership right now? So Alon will know what you need because that's what he needs to do now every morning, every day. You need to make decisions, and you need to make decisions based on the right values. That's what you expect from leadership, right? And also, what you want the leaders is you want them to have common sense, right? Now, if we look at the current world, 2 groups that, from my perspective, represent the leadership, which is people who impact the most, millions and millions of citizens. It's, of course, governments, elected officials, and everybody who works in governments. That's what you came to do, right? You came to impact as many lives as possible for better. But then there is also a growing tech companies, right? And so these 2 groups represent the world leadership now. Now, imagine if we had a situation where government and tech companies came together started speaking the shared language. It's not easy. It's a very different mentality, but ultimately you hold the keys for the betterment of the whole world. So this is where IMPROVATE comes into place. What we created a platform which allows governments and technological companies come together, find a better language, find a shared language, build a shared language, and work towards making the world a better place. So that's the vision, briefly. Now, to the next question that you said, you asked, what can we do in crisis? I'll say something maybe, I hope a lot of you will understand me. I get a lot of invitations to a lot of events, and it used to be physically, and now it's virtually. And so usually you have these conferences and gatherings, and you name it, and now we're all in Zoom, right? And what you usually the focus of those events is, one, what kind of problem we have. Second, who we're going to blame for that problem. So this is kind of the discussion. Now, while I believe strongly that you need to go deep and understand how you came to the problem, and you need to know what thinking brought you to this problem, ultimately spending time and wasting time on discussing who is to blame, I think in any situation is waste of time. But in the situation of crisis as such, I think we just can't allow it to ourselves. So the idea of this gathering, and it's the second of many, is that we wanted to build a platform that brings together people who are like-minded and who want to feel that they're part of a group of people who want to find solutions. So they want to be part of solutions, not part of the problems. Now, today we're going to deal with the very basic, the most basic question, food, right? And we didn't choose to start it, by surprise. This is the basic. But this is what we want to be. We want to make sure that people come here and say, okay, we are part of the solution. We are part of the optimism, and we are facing the reality, but let's see how we can make lemonade out of lemons.
It's so important what you say, and really speaks to the essence of this whole conference and the concept of IMPROVATE, as you said, that this is not here just to have conversations more broadly about problems and solutions, but actually to see how we take the concrete next step to make those concrete connections, which we'll be doing here throughout the broadcast. As we come to an end here, let me turn it back over to our co-chair, former Bulgarian President Rosen Plevneliev. So after hearing from ministers, diplomats, tech innovators here, give us your sort of closing thoughts on where it all goes from here.
First of all, let me thank you to IMPROVATE team. You guys, you've done a great job. We're very proud of you. Our moderator, Nurit, you were amazing, and we are all grateful to you too. Speaking about Israeli companies that we saw today, we learned a lot from them. We saw the future. We are ready to grab that future. Speaking about, on behalf of all the politicians, presidents, deputy ministers, ambassadors, so many people that were with us today, I am extremely grateful that you gave us the opportunity at IMPROVATE to come together. We shared ideas, we shared plans, we shared strategic thinkings and understanding, and we shared the same vision. And on top of that, all those countries we're talking about today, with Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, Croatia, and others, all of them are strategic partners of Israel, are friends of Israel with deep-rooted cooperation that goes centuries behind. And all of them love Israel and cooperate in all the fields. And here is the message. This conference, we enjoyed so much, extremely and professionally organized on a world-class event that goes to world-class media, the leading media in Israel, a leading business media in the world are listening to us and are going to see how we come together. But this conference is not just ending. IMPROVATE is a platform to bring business, politicians, everybody who is anybody in the ecosystem together. And this is ahead of us. We had a great conference today, but we do have our plans. Bulgaria, Romania, Greece, Croatia are ready in the next months to host delegations from Israel. Israeli companies will see all the decision makers. They will see the big farmers, the small farmers, the very profitable international giants. They will see the potential. They will see and they will learn. And in a 3 days visit, they will be much more involved into what's going on in this market. And again, talking about Southeast Europe, it's a fast and a very dynamically growing market. It's 20 billion euros per year investments in agriculture. It's $80 billion per year market of itself, and it is growing. And there is no other way to grow but with cooperation with the best. And that's you guys from Israel. Greetings and shalom.
Thanks very much, President Plevneliev. A whole lot of potential, as you say, that is ripe and ready to be used and taken forward. Thanks so much for being with us and, of course, co-chairing all of this. And that is it for us from IMPROVATE's International Conference, Smart Agri-Tech in Southeastern Europe. Over the last couple of hours, we've heard, of course, from former Bulgarian President Rosen Plevneliev, UN Special Envoy Nikolai Mladenov, agriculture ministers from Greece to Croatia, Bulgaria, and Israel, all across the region, all of them breaking down what their countries need now for a thriving and sustainable future. But most of all, we got a taste of Israel's leading agri-tech companies, all of them excited to provide tech solutions for this region in its transformation. And that is exactly what IMPROVATE is all about, creating those connections. Thanks for joining us.